Hello and welcome to Granada Reports, live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello, thanks for joining us on the programme this evening.
A personal apology from Greater Manchester's Chief Constable to the woman who, as a 12-year-old girl, told the police she'd been raped. Unforgivably, they let her fall into the hands of a grooming gang.
It means nothing. We have no faith in GMP whatsoever. Us victims want our cases independently investigated by another police force.
Told she had just months to live, Jasmine went to India to say goodbye to her mother. Now, after a drugs trial at the Christie Hospital, she's cancer-free.
There was no hope, and it has been given that it's all clear now. I don't know what to say.
A big signing for City. England international Calvin Phillips arrives at the Etihad from Leeds.
Join me at the end of the programme for the world premiere of The Railway Children Return, written by none other than Hyde's superstar screenwriter, Mr. Danny Brocklehurst.
And after a breezy day today, it's calming down and warming up this week. And what about the heatwave for next week? All the detail a little later on.
Well, first tonight, and we can exclusively reveal that a young woman who was repeatedly raped by a grooming gang has tonight received a personal apology from the Chief Constable of Greater Manchester.
Sophie, as she was called in a highly critical report into child sexual exploitation, was just 12 years old and desperate for help when she went into a local police station in Oldham to report that she'd been assaulted. But her pleas were ignored. Incredibly, she was picked up from the station by two members of a gang. Most of the men involved have never been caught.
She tells us she has no faith in Greater Manchester Police and now wants another force to investigate. She also wants a government-backed review into failings at Oldham Council, which failed to safeguard her and other victims.
Sophie has been speaking to our correspondent, Elaine Wilcox.
Sophie's story is harrowing. She was a child who'd gone to police in Oldham to report being raped, only to be driven away from that police station and passed around a gang of Asian men.
The officer just didn't intervene or assist. He just sent me home and was fine with me going away with these two other people in the police station at the time. It led to being driven around, being passed around and being raped.
By a gang of men?
Yeah.
And you'd gone to the police station at 12?
For help. And if you can't go to the police station for support, who can you go to?
Sophie helped jail the gang's ringleader Shakil Chowdhury in 2007, and it took almost a decade before Paul Waits was jailed, the paedophile teacher who'd groomed her. Only now, in the review of the police and council's response to child sexual exploitation, has it been revealed two more men were named, but still not investigated.
So the police didn't check the CCTV at the police station where you were driven to?
So they've missed so many opportunities to have found them.
So many other girls could have been raped and nothing done?
At that same property, yeah, by them same men.
You told the authorities again and again what was happening to you, and this report says there were so many opportunities to stop this abuse. How angry does that make you now?
It infuriates me, not for myself, but the fact that they got away with it, they were still employed and their job was to safeguard children, and if they couldn't safeguard me, how many other children have they not protected? How many of these staff members that let me down are still employed by the council or by GMP or have been promoted?
The report concluded the council and police were more concerned about covering up their failures, misleading MPs about Sophie's case.
On too many occasions, we, the police, were not there for you when you desperately needed us. And for that, I am truly sorry.
Now today, you're going to see the Chief Constable. He's made a public apology. Will it make any difference?
It means nothing. We have no faith in GMP whatsoever. It's took 10 years to get to where we are now. And us victims want our cases independently investigated by another police force.
And when you look back at that little girl, 12-year-old, asking for help, what is your fear for 12-year-olds in Oldham today?
There probably is hundreds of 12-year-olds right now suffering, and what they've done so far is not enough.
Sophie says until there are prosecutions, all the promises of a change of culture are just words, leaving other girls at risk. Elaine Wilcox, ITV News, Oldham.
And Elaine is with us now. So Sophie has been looking for answers for 16 years. Has the Chief Constable managed to reassure her at all?
In a word, Lucy, no, not yet. The failings to protect Sophie make up a whole chapter in this report. It spells out this was a young woman who tried for years to get the authorities to listen to her. She raised her case with MPs on the influential, powerful committee, Home Affairs Select Committee, and they were misled. She went to the police watchdog. They were fobbed off. That was a whitewash. She then has been asking questions all of these years. Today, the Chief Constable, he personally apologised and asked for time to win Sophie's trust back, insisting the force does take grooming, this horrific crime, seriously now. But Sophie says that trust has gone until all the men who raped her are put behind bars.
And Elaine, Sophie's not alone in her criticisms, is she? Residents in Oldham also want to see a change.
Yes, Sophie said she's spoken to other grooming survivors and people who saw what was going on their streets, and they don't believe this review went far enough. They believe there's evidence of a grooming gang, and they want that looked into. Tempers flared at a council meeting last week in Oldham. Another is planned this week, and residents want a government-backed review to look into those claims, delve a bit deeper. Now, Sophie was supported by Maggie Oliver, former detective who blew the whistle on the Rochdale grooming gangs. Maggie's foundation is compiling case after case for GMP to investigate, and Mayor Andy Burnham has ordered the police to work with her foundation. The force says it has now over 100 officers working on Operation Sherwood, and stress if victims come forward, they will be listened to. But Sophie says this is now her third investigation into her case, and her biggest fear is that there are young girls just like her who are still at risk today.
Yeah. OK, Elaine, thank you.
Well, moving on, the family of a 12-year-old boy from Runcorn who went missing 6 days ago and is described as vulnerable are said to be distraught with worry.
Yeah, Thomas Robinson disappeared after last being seen at his home in the town on the 28th of June.
Our correspondent Rob Smith is in Runcorn for us tonight. Rob, this gets more worrying as more time passes.
Yeah, Lucy, Thomas's family in this town are beyond worried tonight, beyond worried. They haven't seen him for the best part of a week, and in all of that time, police believe he has been harboured. That's the word they're choosing, harboured by children elsewhere in Merseyside. Now, take a look at this picture of Thomas. He's 12 years old. He's around 5 foot tall. Last seen at his home here in Runcorn on Tuesday evening, last Tuesday evening around 5 o'clock. Now, since then, there have been sightings of him in St Helens and a confirmed sighting in Seaforth near Bootle. That was on Saturday night. Now, at that point, he was wearing a black puffer jacket, dark tracksuit bottoms, white and grey trainers. And there have been a few other potential spottings of him since then. Members of the public have got in touch to say that they think they've seen him. Officers are trawling through CCTV to confirm if indeed it was him. And detectives say that while sightings are positive, a very, very big positive, they do not get Thomas home. They point out he's 12 years old. He's vulnerable. He needs to be back with his family. And they're asking anyone who thinks they may have seen him or may think that they know where he is, particularly in those areas of Bootle and Seaforth, to pick up the phone and call them. And they're asking Thomas directly to do just that and let them know that he is safe and well.
Rob, thank you. So if you can help with that inquiry, please do. Dozens of bus drivers and engineers from Stagecoach on Merseyside have walked out in a row over pay. They've rejected an offer which the company says is worth more than 10%. The company says it's puzzled. The union believes strike action's the way forward, but Unite say it's the only way that they can try to get a fair deal.
We understand it. It does disrupt people's lives, the general public. You know, there's people here today who work for Stagecoach, but their partners, their wives, their children use Stagecoach buses, so there is that disruption. However, you know, we have to fight for the future as well, and that's what we're doing.
Well, next, and a good news story, and what a change it is to be able to tell a story about cancer, but cancer in a positive way.
Jasmine David was told to prepare for end-of-life care when she was given the devastating news her breast cancer had returned.
Then she was invited by the Christie Hospital in Manchester to join the clinical trial of a treatment so experimental it still hasn't got an official name, and she's been declared cancer-free.
She's been speaking to our correspondent, Mel Barham.
Jasmine hadn't expected to ever see her mother in India again. She'd already said her goodbyes after being told her aggressive form of breast cancer had returned and spread to her lungs. She'd been given just 10 months to live.
They said, "We are really sorry, Jasmine, we have nothing more to offer you." I started thinking, I wanted to see my daughter getting married. I wanted to see my children graduating. Will that happen? I don't know.
With all standard treatments exhausted, Jasmine was given the opportunity as a last resort to take part in an early phase 1 clinical trial here at the Christie for an immunotherapy drug which had never before been tested on humans.
That gave me a fear first, what it will be like. But then I thought, anyway, I got only 10 months to live. Let me try, and if it's not working, at least if it works for someone in future, let my body be useful for that.
Jasmine began that trial in December 2019. At first, the side effects were bad and she was in hospital over Christmas. But as the weeks went on, something almost miraculous occurred.
First scan, it came out, 80% of the cancer has disappeared. I can still recollect that day. Very emotional day that was. I didn't know what I have done to deserve this. That was my first thought. And from then, I never doubted.
After 3 more doses, Jasmine was given the news there was no trace of cancer at all. Her doctors here at the Christie say whilst it's early days for this particular drug, the results are hugely promising.
Jasmine's had a really good response to the treatment, and we know with this type of drug that's called immunotherapy, where we're stimulating the immune system, some patients unfortunately don't respond at all, but some patients have a really good response. And one of the things we're really keen to understand more about is how we can predict which patients are going to do well on this particular treatment.
Jasmine is still continuing her treatment on this drug, so experimental it doesn't even have a name. And the team here at the Christie are hoping Jasmine's story will encourage others to take part in clinical trials, especially those from ethnic minority backgrounds. Jasmine herself is urging others to give it a go.
Unless you try, how do you ever know whether this is targeted for you? Any single day I live from now on is a grateful day where there was no hope, and it has been given that it's all clear now. And ever thankful to the medical science.
Doctors are keen to stress this drug is not necessarily a miracle cure, but for Jasmine, it certainly feels miraculous. Mel Barham, ITV News, Manchester.
Yes, such a moving interview. Thanks to Jasmine for telling us her story, and well done to all of the people working so hard behind the scenes on all of these research projects to help people with cancer. OK, lots more still to come on the programme. Coming up.
Come on, Nudge, you're nearly there!
On his hands and knees, but later we'll be finding out why this was no ordinary pub crawl.
And nothing quite as dramatic and gorgeous as Daniel Carty's photograph here over the next few days, but we've still got a few showers in the mix. It's looking a little bit better towards the weekend though. All the detail a little bit later on.
OK, here's what's still to come on the ITV News at 6:30 with Lucrezia.
Coming up, the latest on allegations of sexual harassment by Conservative MP Chris Pincher. What did the Prime Minister know before promoting the MP at the last reshuffle? Inflation hits school dinners. Suppliers warn rising food and fuel prices coupled with supply chain delays could impact school meals. And we talk to British tennis hopeful Cameron Norrie ahead of his Wimbledon quarter-final tomorrow. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
That's all very exciting. Well, we're staying with sport here now. A couple of major signings in football's transfer window, Chris.
Yeah, it's been a busy transfer window this time. Lots of clubs trying to get their business done early, so they're not waiting until the deadline day. Manchester City and United both landing big names to strengthen their midfield today. City have spent £45 million to land England international Calvin Phillips. The 26-year-old has signed a 6-year deal after making the move from Leeds United. He says the chance to work with manager Pep Guardiola was what attracted him to the Etihad Stadium.
Just wanted to test myself, on the next step again with players, with unbelievable, work ethic and, an unbelievable manager as well. The quality of the players that they've got, the way that they play and, the way that they pass the ball around is, it's an unbelievable style of player. It's something that I've always been attracted to.
Well, meanwhile, Christian Eriksen has agreed to join Manchester United on a free transfer. The 30-year-old midfielder spent much of last season at Brentford. He's trained with United boss Erik ten Hag before when he was at Ajax, and Eriksen was recovering from a cardiac arrest suffered while playing for Denmark. Meanwhile, Manchester United say Cristiano Ronaldo has missed training today due to family reasons. There's a lot of speculation about his future after reports that he's asked to leave the club. United say they've accepted his explanation for today's absence. One man who is leaving Manchester is City striker Gabriel Jesus. He's completed his move from City to Arsenal for £45 million. And Duncan Ferguson, Everton's assistant manager, has left Goodison Park after 2 spells as Everton's caretaker boss. He's leaving to find a full-time manager's job. Well, the new football season is just over 3 weeks away. Preston North End's manager Ryan Lowe says he's being given all the support he needs from the club's owners. Following the death of Trevor Hemmings last year, the Championship side is now being run by his family. Lowe hopes to bring up to 5 new faces to Preston as they try to improve on last season's mid-table finish, as David Chisnell reports.
With the new football season kicking off at the end of the month, preparations at Preston North End are stepping up. And even the manager, Ryan Lowe, is getting involved.
We saw a little bit of kicking about. He's still showing off the skills then, still showing the lads what you can do.
Oh, did you see Emil Reese nutmeg me, did you? Yeah. We want to get involved with the lads, we'll jump in it when we can in the little boxes and that and the little small siders, because I feel it's good for the buzz around the place, the culture I'm setting, and what I want from here is I want a positive, good vibe and energy culture. And when we join in, and if the lads have to take the mickey out of me and laugh at me being nutmeg, that's fine. I'm quite content with that.
Well, this is Lowe's first pre-season as manager after being appointed in December. It's also Preston's first pre-season following the death of their owner Trevor Hemmings. Despite being open to takeover offers, the Championship club remains in the hands of the Hemmings family.
For you, there's still that commitment from the owners, obviously the sad passing of Mr. Hemmings, but his family now obviously in charge, and there's still the commitment there. If you need someone, if you need something, that they're going to support you, they're right behind you.
Oh yeah, look, I must say Craig Emmons has been fantastic, now chairman, who's obviously took over the reins of the club, but Peter Ridsdale, who's basically my boss, he's given me everything I've asked for. The two of them have been different class, and we haven't got billions of pounds to go and spend, and we have to stick within the budget, and that's fine. If we can overachieve the budgets, then even better.
Lowe wants to strengthen his squad with up to 5 new players. One new face settling into his new surroundings is goalkeeper Freddie Woodman, who's joined from Premier League side Newcastle.
I'm coming to a club that's heading in the right direction. I'm going to be playing for a manager that plays good style of football, and also I'm playing at a place where the fans are passionate. I've seen that. I went for a Nando's the other day in Preston, and I had a few people come up to me and welcome me to the city.
Well, Preston want to improve upon their 13th place finish in the Championship last season. This season will be unlike any other, thanks to a Winter World Cup in Qatar.
And a different season as well, because you're going to get a break.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's going to be a strange one.
Smile on your face then when I said break, you were like, yes!
It's going to be important, to get away and spend some time with the family and kind of switch off. With the festive period coming around in December, it's going to be really important.
I don't want to be a mediocre Championship manager. You've obviously got ambition to try and get up the league, and we know that's tough, but you're in the league to try and win it. There's obviously going to be a lot bigger clubs who can pay more money than we can, so we've got to look and fight and try and see where we can get to.
The timing of the World Cup means this season starts slightly earlier in July, and for Preston that means an away trip to Northwest neighbours Wigan. David Chisnell, ITV News, Buxton.
Well, next tonight, when it comes to classic children's films, The Railway Children takes some beating. And although it's all set in Yorkshire, When it came to writing the sequel, we're pleased to report that they looked to the northwest for the man to provide the words.
That is because all the best people are from the northwest. Well, the sequel to the beloved classic is called The Railway Children Return, and it's set in the 1940s. Our entertainment correspondent, Caroline Whitmore, went to the world premiere of the film in a very different setting.
Well, I have to say this is the first ever film premiere I've attended at a train station, but this isn't just any train station. This is Oakwood Station in West Yorkshire, of course, made famous by the film The Railway Children back in 1970. Fast forward over 50 years and the sequel, The Railway Children Return, is written by none other than Hyde's very own superstar screenwriter, Danny Brocklehurst.
Do you remember arriving here?
Like it was yesterday.
On a day like what? Well, like this here. I told you I seen it in the papers, didn't I?
We know you've written so many things before, but this is a biggie, isn't it?
It is big. I wasn't daunted by it particularly, simply because I didn't really, like, as I was writing the new version, I wasn't thinking too much about the original.
The original.
It is a new story. It's about evacuees. It's it's very much in the spirit of the original. I've done a lot of adult shows like Shameless and stuff, so this is quite a departure for me. But I did always wanted to do a family film.
I can hear a train coming in now. I think this is Big Jim, who you used in the film. Do you, as a writer, get on the set?
I didn't actually go on set on this one because we were filming right in the heart of COVID restrictions. Well, I obviously had a lot of conversations with the directors and the actors.
Hide and seek. Zach, this is your first ever professional acting role.
I feel excited. You get to meet friends and it all feels like family.
You're Zach's dad. How proud are you?
Bursting with pride. Absolutely enormously proud. Zach's 9 now. He was 8 when we started filming. We're just south of Manchester in a little place called Holmes Chapel. But he's done a brilliant job.
Coming into this, I didn't know what the Railway Children was because, I'm from New York in America. So coming over here and seeing how big it was over here, and I was like, whoa.
I wish he'd been a little bit more supportive to us suffragettes.
What's a suffragette?
You're from Stockport. This is your first film.
It was really magical because, I'm not too far off where Patty lived, which is in Salford. So I sort of could relate to how she was feeling at this time.
Jenny Agutter, did she give you any tips, girls?
Oh, yes. Yeah, just by watching her, you could just tell, you just learnt so much from her because she was poised, she was focused, and she had a twinkle in her eye.
Jenny, you're the only original cast member from the original film. How does it feel for you for the sequel?
It's just lovely to return. It's always been lovely to return here, and the sequel deals with a whole different time and a whole different family, but it touches very much on the original story, and Bobby's come from that time, and I think Nesbitt would have approved of that.
And I'm loving your dress here.
Well, I know, that's the red petticoat.
You got
it's
to
been
do
made
it.
into my dress.
Not yet! Not yet! Sheridan, I guess like me, you've grown up watching The Railway Children, and you're now starring in a film alongside Jenny Agutter.
Very starstruck. Even though we're friends now, but I remember when Jenny first walked on set, and we'd been filming a little while, and then it was like, Jenny's coming, and it was, royalty arriving. I'm just honoured, and I haven't done lots of film work.
It's Tom Courtney!
Oh, Tom Courtney's coming in! Tell us how you fit into the film, Tom.
Oh, very awkwardly.
Oh.
That's true.
I play Jenny's brother-in-law.
Well, it's all aboard, isn't it, for the new film, Railway Children Return. Best of luck with it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I love the original, and that really looks like a brilliant sequel. It's called The Railway Children Return. It's in cinemas on Friday, the 15th of July, so be sure to watch out for that. Did you watch
Wholesome
it?
family fun. Do you know what? I'm ashamed to say that I only watched it for the first time, the original this is, probably about 2 or 3 years ago, but I did thoroughly enjoy it. So I bet it's different watching it as an adult to watching it as a child, but I did love it. It's good fun.
It's just such a great story, It's like those kids, their lives just fall apart when their dad goes to prison. I remember that, and then sort of seeing them just make lots of adventures and fun. So,
and there's a happy ending.
Yeah.
Always a happy ending.
Actually, mustn't say that. I don't know what this one is.
Yeah. Here's Kerry with the weather.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello, good evening. A mixed weather bag across the region today. We did have some showers earlier on, quite a bit of cloud around and a keen northwesterly breeze pegging back the feel of things, particularly for the coasts and over higher ground. Some sunshine though, and that mix of sunshine and showers continues for tomorrow and Wednesday, but it looks like calming down from Thursday and warming up towards the weekend. So we've got high pressure to the southwest currently, so feeding in some weak weather fronts around that high over the next couple of days, but it does tend to build over the UK as we head closer towards the weekend. So warmer, calmer, drier and brighter. And then as we look to next week, a possible scenario is that the high will park to the east, and that's going to drag in potentially some much warmer air from the south. Lots of gossip on social media and in some of the papers over the last 48 hours or so about the weekend's computer models predicting 40 degrees for the first time towards the 16th of July. Now over the last 48 hours that has come down to around 30 degrees, thankfully. So that's a much more acceptable temperature for July than 40, which is quite frightening. But there is a warming trend into next week, so we are looking at potential heat wave, and I've put lots more information about all that on our website in a little article. So not heat wave criteria overnight tonight, but quite a bit of cloud around, some showery outbreaks and quite breezy for much of the night. But the winds will tend to ease towards dawn, and we will see a bit of a mixture as we head towards tomorrow morning of a few scattered showers and one or two clearer spells developing. 4:48 and 9:43 are your sun times for Tuesday. Bit of a cloudy start, some showers, but we are expecting all of that to push southwards along with that keen breeze, and an improving story into the afternoon and evening with highs of around 19. Bit cloudy midweek on Wednesday, but then calming down and warming up Thursday into the weekend.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
Well, along with our UV sunburn risk rising over the coming few days as we head towards the end of the week, also rising the tree pollen count, very high again by Thursday. Take care. See you soon.
Yeah, the hay fever's bad.
Yeah. Now, a man from Wigan has completed a pub crawl with a difference. This one actually on his hands and knees.
Come on, Nige, you're nearly there. Nigel Brookwell donned special knee pads for this challenge at the weekend, crawling 4 miles from the town centre to Standish with few obstacles like this dog along the way. Most of it uphill, it has to be said, and it's all to raise awareness and money for a local mental health support group. So far, he's raised more than £4,000, but there are still bucket collections to be counted.
That looks like incredibly hard work, and I wonder if the dog helped or hindered his effort there.
Yes, and thirsty work as well. Well done to him.
Bye-bye.
Bye.